Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome back to the big show. Well, we have some breaking news here. In Arizona, a manhunt is underway. I did get a little more details. We did listen to Trump on the break. Now, he just said a few sentences about the situation at hand and then immediately went into a campaign speech. You can't blame him. We're 75 days away from an election. But I went and dug up some details for you. They're looking for a dude that has warrants out in Wisconsin and Arizona. They think the guy is a 66-year-old fella named Ronald Searwood. I mean, his name's not important, but they actually know who they're looking for. It's not like they saw a random dude and are trying to figure out who it is. So the suspect threatened to kill Trump. President Trump landed in Arizona today. And I guess, there's two layers to this. One, you have to make a threat. Two, it has to be an actionable threat. So if some guy up in Alaska is like just typing out on Twitter, oh, I'd love to kill Trump. I mean, he may get like a visit from the Secret Service or whatnot. But if someone says, I want to kill Trump, and then Trump happens to go to his backyard, I mean, that seems to be the setup of what happened in Pennsylvania, in Butler, isn't it? So they're not going to let that happen again. Manhunt underway. I'll let you know if there's any movement on it. My next guest, Raven Harrison. We're just finding this news story out together. Welcome back to the show, by the way.
Thanks, James.
Alex Jones just said, I think it was yesterday, that he expects someone else to try and assassinate Trump. If that's what the deep state wants, that's what the deep state's going to get. And they're probably not going to stop after one failed attempt, because no one got in trouble for that first attempt. No one got exposed. The official story is that it was just this 20-year-old idiot who acted on its own with no help and no training and no resources and no network. Just beat the country with an $11 trillion defense budget. That's all. So without any accountability, I'm not surprised it may be happening again. What do you think?
No, absolutely, and especially because now they can use the sentiment that they whipped up against President Trump, all this hate, all this animus, all this...
No, Raven, please. This is joy, okay? They are so joyous. They are so happy. They're having they're so fun, Raven. It's Team Red that's the evil, meanie people.
Well, of course, because the two most miserable people on the left are named Joy, so we got to do something to kind of deflect from that, but you are right. So, yeah, there's going to be more attempts like this because they put a mark on him with this. They intended to get him the first time. They didn't. So they're really putting that, and they've doubled down on that hate and vitriol since this has happened. So there are definitely no surprises here. They also want to deflect from their nearly empty DNC convention that Kamala's been hiding from, and the fact that they have a mobile butchery out front.
Oh, I haven't really talked about that. Explain the mobile butchery. I bet half the people listening right now don't know about the mobile butchery.
So Parenthood brought a mobile bus out for each day of the DNC, and they are giving free abortions and free vasectomies. Believe it or not, don't have as many takers on the vasectomies, but they are proudly boasting that yesterday they murdered 25 babies, and they are celebrating that as a mark of something that should be tied. I mean, regardless of whether you are a Democrat, Independent, or Republican, you should be outraged by they would make a decision like that a decision like that would be cheapened to something on wheels out in front of a DNC convention. And Kamala wanting to tie herself to that kind of a legacy, that's what you would want to be known for as a female president, is someone who's having abortions on demand out in front of the DNC, which is only, at times half empty. They're not showing that, but it's been a real dumpster fire. There's no energy. There's no enthusiasm. And Kamala's been hiding out for days. So now we're going to see the end of the word salad.
Well, we still need to have Kamala Harris go out and answer questions from the press. This is a good time for her to duck and cover. She doesn't have to. She could be out answering questions like Trump. Is he taking questions right now?
Probably.
Yeah, I think he's taking questions right now here in Arizona.
Yeah.
But they can hide her out for this week. No. She's going to be on a script all tonight. At some point, she's going to have to speak off the cuff. Is that going to ruin her?
Well, yes, but she's not going to, James. The problem is she's being propped up by all of the media. That's why she's not taking it. She is trying to skate. till as close to the election as possible so people can't see. She's got nothing. There are no policies listed on her website. She has no platforms. The few things that she has gone off script, she ripped off from Trump. So the no tax on tips she tried to rip off. Now she's trying to up the capital gains tax. I mean, she is all over the map, where she's even got CNN downing her for that. So they know she is a disaster. She's got no policies unless she tries to steal them from President Trump. And she's not going to be able to hide, but she sure as heck is going to try.
Well, I did see one of her surrogates floated the idea that Kamala's looking into canceling some medical debt on top of student debt, some medical debt. So good. Another redistributive giveaway.
Yeah, correct. Why stop at just ignoring the Supreme Court on the border? Why not continue to, if you're going to transfer all the Harry Styles degrees, debt to the rest of us, why not we not pay for everybody else? But, again, are we having illegals pay for any of this? Why are they being given free money? And her new home buyer program, again, it's not first time. It's worded so that illegals can buy homes with that money.
What was the Harry Styles reference?
Because I don't know if you knew this, but they do actually offer degrees in Harry Styles and Taylor Swift. And these are the people who want their student loans paid off.
Well, what job are you qualified to get with a Harry Styles degree? No, I'm
going to go with groupie.
Groupie?
But
how many does he need?
But I don't know. But they're actually, somebody's actually teaching it. Somebody's actually paying to learn it. And then we're paying at the end of it.
Yeah, and if they have any health problems, we're probably going to have to pay for that too. Anyway, Raven Harrison, thank you very much for jumping on the show here. We're going to take a look at this Arizona situation. We may need to talk to you again soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, James.
Where can they find your work outside of WBAP, Raven?
They can find me at theroarmission.com, theroarpack.com, or ravenharrison.com. We're on top of it.
Thank you, Raven. All right. Donald Trump is still speaking. Now, when I was on the last commercial break, I was checking in on that, and it was him doing election stuff. He was talking about the job revisions from the Bureau of Labor Statistics that came out this week. And it turned into a campaign speech really quick. But I'll rewind it on my TiVo here. And if he says anything of consequence, I'll let you know in about 5 minutes. This is The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Dan Bongino. No, it's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, checking in the situation going on, we have sort of a late breaking news situation. There's a manhunt underway. A guy who was suspected of planning to assassinate Trump. Arizona authorities are looking for him. He's got a warrant out in Wisconsin. He's got a warrant out in Arizona. The only new information I found is a little bit more on our suspect. 66-year-old guy, happens to be white. Not that that's important, but if some of you are keeping track for racial reasons, whatever. And he's also a registered sex offender. Ew. All right. So this is not a good guy, period. American people, what's going on? Well, we have two guys. I mean, if this story stands to bear out to be true, why do we have two near assassinations of this guy? Is it because he's the bad guy or because he's the good guy? Which one is it? Because either this guy is Hitler, because people tried to assassinate Hitler because he was taking the country in the wrong direction and he was doing some really evil things and he was just a really evil person. And if you've convinced half the country that Donald Trump is Hitler, you're crazy if you think some of them aren't going to have a similar reaction. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. My question here, is this really just a hell of a coincidence in that we have two lone wolf actors? Or is something going on behind the scenes? I'm not saying all the deep state is in on it. I'm not saying if there's a conspiracy. It may just be just reckless incompetence. But does the deep state want Trump dead? That's what you got to start asking yourself. It seems a little far-fetched, but not impossible. It seems possible, but not probable. What do you think? 800-288-9227. See, there's a couple of things I'm thinking about right now. Number one is, well, maybe it really is just lone wolves. And the problem is that the media keeps whipping up all this hatred toward the guy. To where some people out there who aren't, they don't have, they're a few fries short of a Happy Meal. They think they're doing the world some good. If you're 66 years old and you already have warrants in a couple states and you're a sex offender, so everybody hates you anyway, you may think this is some sort of redemptive move. Well, maybe I won't die and be remembered as a creeper and a villain. If I take out Trump, I could be remembered as a hero. If I'm the guy who takes out Hitler, well, then they won't talk about me being the weird old pervy guy at the end of the block. I'll be a hero, maybe. And look, the diagnosis is important because if that's the problem, then fixing this problem is fundamentally changing the media, or at least holding them to account. Now, you and I can't hold them to account. Their followers have to hold them to account. The people who watch MSNBC have to either turn the channel or voice their opinions enough, or maybe even start boycotting sponsors. But I don't expect them to do that. It would have to get super worse than this to break them from their hold. So what do we do about it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's anything you can do about it. There's not a whole lot I can do about it. But at some point, is the American people going to see when you constantly demonize a guy, when you say he wants to control your body, he wants to come between you and your doctor, he doesn't want freedom, he wants fascism, he wants racism, he wants sexism, he wants homophobia, he wants all the bad stuff, he's all the bad things. That's wrong. You're going to get the guy killed. Here's the dangerous part. It's the same thing they say about you. It's the same thing they say about me. The not fun part about my job, and I love my job. I have a fun job. This is what I chased for my entire life. The not fun part about it, there's a chunk of society, there's about 20% of society out there, when they hear what I do, immediately hate me. Like, I don't mean like, oh, I'm not so sure about that. Hate me. Not be friends with me. Not talk to me. Not let their kids play with my kids. And why? Because I'm racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe? I'm none of those things. But they've been convinced I am. They've been convinced by these evil people on TV to hate me. Now, when I turn on Fox News, they're not convincing me and you to hate them. No one is saying, well, Kamala Harris is promoting communism. She's going to kill millions of us. She needs to be taken out. She needs to be stopped at all costs. No. We say, look at that. She's promoting communism, and half the country is dumb enough to fall for it. Ha, 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 ha. What a bunch of idiots. But we don't think they're evil. We don't think they're Nazis. We're not accusing them of bigotry, but they are doing that for you. Make no mistake, there's a kernel of truth when you see the memes passed around, or Donald Trump says it himself, where they're not coming after him. They're coming after you. He's just in the way. There's a little bit of truth to that. It's not Trump specific, though. Whoever is going to be the titular head of Team Red, I think you've noticed over the last however many presidential election cycles, they're always painted as a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, hateful Nazi. That's got to stop. Lefties, grow up. Lefties, I'm talking to you. Stop this. 800-288-9227. Has this gone far enough yet, or does the man have to get killed before you realize, oh, maybe we should back off the hateful rhetoric? 800-288-9227. Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll talk with Stephen Moore, the guy who gave you your tax cuts under Trump, about what the heck is going on with the economy. This is the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. All right. Welcome back to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Donald Trump is still speaking live in Arizona. He's been out there for almost an hour now, right? Now he's taking questions. So this is morphed. We've had some breaking news just since the show started. Two things have happened. Number one, there's a manhunt underway in Arizona where Trump is speaking right now. He made a trip to Arizona. Apparently there's some sort of actionable threat against him, and cops are trying to track down this 66-year-old sex offender weirdo under the claims that, there was an actionable assassination threat. So then Donald Trump goes out, gives a quick little assessment of the situation, moves into a campaign speech, has been speaking this whole time, and now is taking questions. Every single day, almost, this guy is out just fielding random questions from random people. No scripting, no vetting, no teleprompters. And this is what Kamala Harris is avoiding every day. Voters, she's asking for your vote, but she's not telling you what she's going to stand for. She's asking for your vote, but she's not answering questions about how she would govern. He is. I mean, just based on that alone, one of them's clearly being more transparent than the other. What does she have to hide? So I was checking in on it in the break, and I've actually found a good clip I thought you'd be interested in. I don't know if you can hear the reporter really good, but when he's talking about, the situation at the border, he brought out Jocelyn Nunguri's mom. Remember the girl in Houston, the 12-year-old that was raped and killed by two illegals, a month or two ago? Her mom spoke for a second. Trump gets up, starts taking questions, and the reporter says, well, look, if you're so concerned about shutting down the border, then why wouldn't you support the bipartisan border security bill? Go ahead.
Why not support that bipartisan border security bill? And how do you get people on board with all the things that you talked about, the policies that you just laid out? How do you get people to come to the table?
Ready?
Yeah.
The bipartisan, and it wasn't bipartisan, they had a couple of people on the other side. It was weak, it was ineffective, and it would have allowed, as you know, millions and millions of people to pour through, and largely unvetted. It was a horrible bill, it was a weak bill, and they don't need a bill. All Biden had to do is look to the border and say, close the border. He didn't need a bill. He knows that. They didn't want a bill. The bill was terrible. If it was good, I would have approved it. The House passed a bill before that. I'd approve that bill right now. That was a real bill. But this bill was a weak bill, and it was a shame that they got a Republican. They got somebody who's a very good person, by the way, but they got him to lead it. But it didn't make any difference. If they wanted to close the border, which they don't. They'll have 100 million people come in and totally destroy, ruin our country. If they wanted to close the border, I didn't have a bill. I said, close the border. I said, Brandon, close that border, Brandon. And what happened? He closed the border. They all did. Paul,
hang on, hit pause right here. When he was saying Brandon, he wasn't making a Biden joke. There's a guy standing behind him named Brandon. So anyway, go ahead.
It's incredible. They closed the border. I looked at him. I said, we don't have a bill. We don't need a bill. Close the damn border. They closed the border. They could do the same thing.
It's happening now, though. The encounter numbers are extremely low right now. So that's what's been done.
Right now, what's happening is people are waiting to see what's going to go with the election. And wait till you see what happens after the election, one way or the other. But right now, you take a look at the numbers for the last year. They're horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. And it's also election time, don't forget. They want to put on a little bit of a squeeze. All they do and all they want to do and all they have to do is say, Biden, although I'm not sure, you take a look at, nobody even knows where he is. He's on a beach someplace, but he could even do it from the beach. Close the border. And the border is closed. They will close the border immediately. That's what I did. But we had great people. We've lost a lot of those great people because they want to be respected, and they weren't respected because of this administration. And the worst person in, far worse than Biden, was Kamala. That's why I call her comrade, because she's a radical left person who really wants to have an open border. She'll never close the border. She'll never drill for oil and gas. She's not going to do it. She might do it for a couple of months. She stopped, and that's where the inflation came in. Then she went back to the Trump policy. What they don't say is that if I were there, I'd be now 4 times higher than I was at that moment. But the gasoline prices are still very high right now. But they would have been double if they didn't go back to the Trump policy of drilling.
All right, so that's Trump live in Arizona, just answering rando questions from reporters. And look, this was a scheduled press availability, but he was going to be talking about some border issues. He had already brought along the mother of Jocelyn Nungreed to make a press appearance here. But added to the spice of the situation was an assassination threat, and there is a manhunt underway. And here he is, again, just out there taking questions. Kamala Harris, where are you at? This is what she needs to be doing. She needs to be just answering some rando questions, not doing it. But then the other side gets suspicious about that after a while. Doesn't like Team Blue? Don't y'all get suspicious when your candidate hides out? When Joe Biden hid out for all those months, now Kamala's hiding out for all these months. That doesn't bother you? Doesn't bother you a bit? Doesn't bother you that they threw out the election results of all 50 primaries? Doesn't bother you? 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. This is The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.